This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare.
Welcome to The Last Scare, a home for horror nerds to come together and gush about their favorite feel-good genre. And today, Blake and Sabrina are celebrating their 2-year anniversary, so Cam and I decided to have a double feature, a 2009 double feature, starting off with Drag Me to Hell. And it was your first time watching Drag Me to Hell, right?
It was my first time watching Drag Me to Hell for real. But I had seen the ending in like 2010, just the ending. And I was like, so Drag Me to Hell is a Sam Raimi movie.
It is.
Your boy, your man, your
My
dude.
mans, I love him.
Sam Raimi for life. Let all your bits fly. That's what you told me at the beginning. I have a little note in my margin here that says, let all your bits fly, because I was thinking, all my notes here for this movie, it's just going to be bits. And she said, let all your bits fly. So really just going to let my bits fly in this movie.
Speaking of flies, did you realize the running theme with flies throughout?
I noticed a diabolical little fly who, would go like this before he would jump up into her nose.
Oh, that was so good. It went up one side and it came out the other.
Yeah, that was pretty gross.
Like an awful neti pot. I can't do those.
Neti pot, yeah.
Neti pot.
I have never tried one. People are always telling me to try them, and they always say it's super unpleasant. So I've never done one.
There's always a fly around evil stuff going on. If you notice in the very beginning, when they unravel the stolen necklace, a fly.
Oh, it's specifically around evil stuff?
Yeah, like fly comes out.
Like the oranges in The Godfather when someone's about to die.
I have notes for like each fly. There was one in the very beginning with the fly, like the necklace. There's a lot of flies. This movie's pretty fly for a PG-13 horror movie.
I feel like The Offspring would be a great soundtrack for this movie, actually.
Oh my god, it would. That you're not wrong. So, we follow this character who obviously is down on her luck. She gets, she's insecure. Like, she's listening to tapes in the beginning of how to speak more clearly with more diction. And then she gets completely, looked down on at her job. She gets looked down on by her boyfriend, Justin Long's mom. Like, she is just really trying to find some, confidence, Mm-hmm. Which leads to, what's the old lady's name again?
She bitch.
Yes.
So she's like a witch, basically. Is that what we would call her?
Yeah, we can call. Oh yeah.
She kind of reminds me of the witch from Army of Darkness.
Feast upon your soul! Yo, she bitch. Let's go.
Which we just covered.
We did. You should watch that video.
There's gonna be a little link right there, a little bubble. Yeah.
I love the magic of editing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's just call her she bitch, because
sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
yo, she bitch.
Sure. I mean, she's also,
she's not a nice person. We don't have to worry about, being mean about her.
She did get her home taken from her.
Yeah, but she curses this woman to go to hell.
Yeah. So it was another day at work, and Mrs. She-Bitch comes in, and she's like, I need another extension. And this is when our main character kind of decides to make the tough choices as her boss says, and denies her. And this goes wrong. The woman ends up begging on her knees, like pleading, and still goes wrong, and she's like, you shamed me.
Yeah, so she's down on her luck. She wants to prove herself to her boss so she can get a promotion. So she does the wrong thing, and it's not the only bad thing she does in the course of the movie, but overall she's not a bad person. I think she's got a pretty good redemptive character arc that just doesn't pan out for her. but she denies the extension. This bank feels so much like the bank in Spider-Man 2.
Oh my god, it does.
It feels like very similar. The one with Joel McHale
yeah,
as a banker.
Yeah,
Is it Spider-Man 2?
It is.
Yeah.
And that's what I think about when I think of Spider-Man 2. He like drops Aunt May. He goes, "Oh, Butterfingers."
Butterfingers.
Oh, also in the Army of Darkness video, I totally misquoted something. I said, I like being bad. It makes me feel good. I thought Bully Maguire says that.
Isn't that Venom?
Yeah, Venom says that.
Yeah.
So really showed my ass there, but
Shout out to Topher Grace.
Topher Grace, thanks for being in things.
Oh my god, thank you for being Under the Silver Lake.
Thanks for coming back for that 90s show.
Oh my god, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for the first like 5 minutes of that 90s show, which is surprisingly really good. Really funny.
We like scream, like MCU big reveal moment scream during that 90s show.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's so funny.
It's really adorable.
It's a
too.
really pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I know.
So we don't remember the main character's name. Let's call her Homegirl.
Homegirl.
We'll just have funny names for everyone. Homegirl, She-Bitch, Justin Long. Because like you're not gonna have a Justin Long character and not call him Justin Long.
Yeah, he's just he is like a non-douchey Justin Long. There's like douchey Justin Long characters. And
This is the nicest Justin Long character ever.
I know, right?
He is a sweet, adoring, protective boyfriend.
He's great.
Yeah, but he's also a nerd who likes vintage quarters.
You ever see that original Disney movie called You Wish? And it was about like this teen boy, and he like, collects quarters. And
Was it Justin Long?
No, it's just about collecting quarters. He just wishes his brother to go away.
That's horrible. They also had a TV show where some kids wished that their parents would go away, and they got replaced with cool superhero parents. It's called The Replacements. You probably remember.
I love that show.
I wasn't allowed to watch it because my parents were super offended at the idea of, wishing your parents away and them being replaced with someone else.
It was great. Anytime they didn't like anyone, they would just call up this like number and get them replaced.
It's pretty awful. She makes the bad decision, but she starts questioning her decision. And then she gets jumped in the parking lot by She-Bitch, and Sam Raimi's Delta 88 is there, the iconic car from Evil Dead.
Do you think she travels via that cloth that was like haunting her? And because like the cloth shows up anytime.
Oh yeah, the Delta could have been just a mislead or just a fun Easter egg, but there is this hanky that floats around with a scary face on it, and every time. There's so many times they jump scare us with that, and it's really funny.
It's a lot of fun.
The jump scares in this movie, they're all just super funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sam Raimi is always trying to be funny because his movies are all super campy, but I don't know if that's really the intention, because it seems like in Evil Dead 2, he started just rolling with being funny, but this movie doesn't have like a funny tone overall. It seems like it's trying to be serious, but then you've got like open windows and wind blowing in and lightning and all these crazy Dutch angles, and it's so Raimi. It's just so goofy. It just feels like Evil Dead 5 or 4. I guess it came out before Evil Dead 4.
I think Raimi was set out to make this movie to make a horror movie that's more accessible to younger audiences. So it's toned down. So when you're older, it's pretty funny, but for like a younger audience, it could be actually pretty scary and a good introduction to horror. That's my
I'd say it's a good introductory movie. It seems like the stuff in the unrated cut isn't that much worse than the PG-13. Like I think they were definitely going for PG-13 the whole time, and there were a few times where they just pushed it a little too far for the censors. But we watched the theatrical version for this double feature, but then we went to the unrated version and watched just like all the more gory bits. But it relies on a lot more gross out humor. There's the part where She-Bitch like pukes on Homegirl's face
when she's dead. She has like bile and like gums her face again, and it's like,
oh no, I meant when she pukes bugs on her face.
Oh no,
there's that part. And they've got the special features that shows that they had like an animatronic puppet thing, and they make these bugs out of like pasta. And Sam Raimi, being the abusive director he is, has homegirl open her mouth
Yeah.
while this animatronic puppet is vomiting fake bugs into her. It's so gross. It's so icky, but it's like it's PG-13 because it's just bugs. It's not blood and guts. It's just bugs. You can't censor bugs.
Yeah, we can't. It's like, they didn't censor how to eat fried queen worms.
Ooh, yeah. Graphic for a kids movie.
Awful.
I haven't seen it.
When I saw that with my dad, we bought a packet of gummy worms before going in. And anytime they ate a worm in the movie, we ate worms.
It's a snacking game.
Snacking game.
It's like a drinking game for kids.
Yeah.
Did she bitch die? What's going on with her?
Yeah, she did. She like, because she went to go visit. Main character was the homegirl. Homegirl shows up to the granddaughter's house, and was, sorry. I can like fix.
She shows up and
things."
she's already dead.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, I just showed up at the funeral, but didn't she get invited?
No, because the granddaughter was like, "You're gonna come here and like lie to my face. Oh, you think you can fix things?" And she goes in, and there's like a party going on. Like, oh, great, it's a party. And then you see she bitch's dead body laid out that she falls into, and then she's like on top of her, and like that's when the second puking happens.
I wonder what ramifications Homegirl's decision to deny the extension would have if she bitch had lived. Like, I wonder if she ended up making things really good for herself. It's just all a bunch of adult mumbo jumbo I don't know shit about.
Yeah, because she was like, after she got cursed, she was,
soon it will be you who comes begging to me.
Which didn't happen because she died. I guess the implication is that like losing her house made her so stressed and so sad that she died.
Do you think that's the implication?
I think so.
Huh.
Like she died as a result of losing her house.
So there is that one scene where there's some blood gushing out of her nose after she's cursed, I guess.
Yeah.
And in the unrated version, it's more of a geyser, and it comes out of her mouth too. It's real gross, real gnarly stuff. Her boss is like, "Did I get any in my mouth?"
Yeah, he's covered in it.
He says it like 3 times.
Did I get any in my mouth?
Oh my God.
Did I get any in my mouth? Did I get any in my mouth?
Speaking of her boss, what a douchebag.
What a douche nozzle.
Her boss and Stu. I only remember his name was Stu because of Scream. Stu is her competition at work to get this promotion, and they're just like, he's just sucking up to the boss the entire time. He's like, oh, these like, courtside seats I can't afford. I can't go. You want them?
Yeah, he's like cheating, and he steals some documents and it screws her over somehow.
Yeah, this is during the nosebleed bit.
Right after the nosebleed, he just like kind of sweeps them away real fast.
What a snake.
I don't think the boss is as big of a douche nozzle as we think he is at first. If you think about it, he's really transparent with her when he's telling her, like, I'm going to have to give the job to Stu. And he just like lays out the reasons. Like, we're inclined not to like him because, what he's telling is not good for the main character. But I can't really think of any other times that he was like a real douche nozzle.
Well, I mean,
he gives douche nozzle energy.
He does. When he just like, if we deny her the mortgage extension, the bank gets a lot of money. And just like,
okay, fair. Yeah. There is that.
Like, yeah, sure. She got 2 extensions, but like...
Eventually, Homegirl is talking to the medium, and he is telling her that the entity requires animal sacrifice. And she's got this little kitten early on in the movie. It's like the cutest kitten.
It's so funny because she's just like, I'm a vegetarian. I can't kill anything. It cuts to the next shot. There's like her cat's there. It's like, hi, kitty.
She's like, there's no way I'm going to kill anything. But then she starts getting really scared at her house, and it immediately cuts to the cat. And you're like, oh no, she's going to kill that kitten. And then when she bitch actually comes for her, there's that long shadow under the door.
Yeah, it turns into hands.
And it throws her around a bit. And there's also that jump scare on the flip phone where it just kind of jumps out. It's so goofy.
I love it. I love how she gets like Nightmare on Elm Street a bit, and she's like in the air and getting tossed around.
Yeah, exactly. but she finds a knife, and then she says,
"Here, kitty, kitty."
and then it just cuts to her like burying the cat. In the PG-13 version, it looks like the cat's all chopped up, but in the unrated version, she just like tosses the whole carcass into the hole.
You see in the unrated version, you see her murder that cat.
Oh yeah. In the unrated version, it's like stab, and there's just like blood gushing up, and it's like, this is whack. this is hecked up. And that leads into the most awkward dinner party ever.
Oh my god, Justin Long showing up, and she just like casually plays off her killing the cat.
Yeah, he mentions the cat, and she's basically refers to it in past tense. It reminds me of Pearl when David Corenswet is like, "What about your dog?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't have a dog." After she just mentioned that she has a dog. It's like the same energy there.
Yeah, she was like, "How am I supposed to know? You know, cats come and go," and Justin Long's like,
What?
So during this really awkward dinner scene with Justin Long's parents, she made this harvest cake, and like Justin Long's mom is an awful person, and like keeps talking down to Christine about like growing up on a farm. Nothing crazy. Like she has a respectful job. She's a good lady, just like growing up on a farm. And anyway, so Christine was honest with the mom and just like, yeah, no, my mother was an alcoholic, which like earned the respect from the mom because she's, oh yeah, my father was, and I was like, never proud. You know, I was too embarrassed to say anything. You have guts or backbone or something like that. They all get excited to try the cake, and this is when she bitch or the goat. It's really the goat that's the demon of the curse that's haunting her. Shows up again to cause havoc, and Christine is looking down and at her slice of cake, and then this giant eyeball.
The goat
pops.
is not in the scene.
No, not the goat, but like it's like a black goat demon that is like the that's part of this curse. That's why you always see the horns around every time there's like an occurrence. Anyways, you go to the cake and the eyeball pops up and Christine stabs it, and it's like pus and blood like going out onto the plate, and then the fork gets sucked into the plate, and then the fly that she swallowed earlier that went through her nose and that she swallowed, she like coughs it up, which makes the parents freak out and like spit out the cake and just completely ruined the night.
It's also Evil Dead. The eye popping out of the cake. It's the vestigial twin that pops out in Army of Darkness. He does it in Multiverse of Madness too. It's always just an eye opening up with like angle.
It's very Resident Evil too, for my Resident Evil folks.
So eventually, the medium hooks her up with another medium, I guess.
Who was in the beginning?
Yeah, the one in the beginning, which there's a forgot to mention in the opening scene, there is a kid being dragged to hell, and I do not believe in that. I don't really believe in hell anyway, but I believe if there is a hell, kids aren't going to hell. He just like steals something from an old woman who is probably she bitch. I think. I feel like that's maybe implied. But this medium was there in the opening scene, and now she is here with the main guy medium, Inception Man, and we don't know anyone's names in this movie.
I promise we watched it. I promise we paid full attention.
She's there with Inception Man, and they are going to cast out the demon and put it in a goat, and they're going to sacrifice the goat. Behind the scenes, this goat was real friendly, real cute. It was kind of just being a menace on set. So they decided it would be easier to make an animatronic goat puppet, which is terrifying. It looks really scary, but I mean, that works to its effect because the final result of the goat is really unsettling and awkward and funny.
Yeah, when they finally get the demon's energy, I don't know how this works, into the goat, it just goes full on Evil Dead. Just like its like face looks bigger and he's like talking shit, and it's great. But they missed when they were trying to sacrifice, and the guy gets bit, and then he gets turned, and it goes even more Evil Dead because he's like over the fire, just like was it Linda? Who was the first one that got in Evil Dead 1?
Cheryl?
Cheryl? Yeah, how Cheryl like in the air and like freaking out.
Cheryl.
It was exactly like that, and I loved it.
Yeah, and the goat kind of calls back the deer head from Evil Dead 2.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
my favorite scene.
I think from now on, if I'm introducing someone to the Evil Dead series, I think I'm going to have them watch this between Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 4. Side note, I just feel there should have been more Evil Dead movies between 92 and 2013, but
Yeah, they were planning to film this right after they filmed Army.
yeah, this was written in the 90s, or at least the idea for it.
Fun fact, Sam Raimi approached Edgar Wright to film it, direct it, but he decided to do Hot Fuzz instead.
Well, at least we got Hot Fuzz.
I love Hot Fuzz.
I noticed in this scene with the goat that he's giving the plan away at the beginning. He's like, we're going to put the spirit in the goat, and then we're going to sacrifice the goat. Okay, is the spirit not in the room? Does it not have ears? Why is it in these movies they always announce the plan? That's why it never works out.
You know, that is a thing. Some screenwriter, like if you hear them like detail out the plan, it's gonna go wrong.
That's something I notice in Breaking Bad. They have all these schemes, and basically if they lay out the scheme, then it's gonna go wrong. But if you just watch the scheme happen, then it works.
Yeah.
The guy who gets possessed in the goat scene says something about feasting upon their souls, which is
The soul of Christian Brown! We will feast upon it! We shall feast upon your soul! I'll swallow your soul! I'll swallow your soul! I'll swallow your soul!
That's a Raimi.
swallow your soul, swallow your soul. Just infinite Dutch angles in this scene.
A Raimi Dutch angle is always tasty. Not all Dutch angles are tasty, but when Raimi does it, it's always tasty.
Yeah. So the medium is like explaining that basically there's an object cursed. That's like that's what She Bitch does. She curses objects and gives them back, and you have to make someone else possess it if you want to save your own soul. So it'll send that person to hell.
Whoever owns it is the one that gets dragged to hell.
Yeah, so when she had her encounter with She Bitch in the parking lot, she got the button on her coat cursed, and she gives her back the button. But here's the thing. I don't understand how that is a curse. That's just giving someone a lot of power. She Bitch gives Homegirl this button, but if she just gives the button to someone else and they own it, she can send them to hell. It means Homegirl has the power to send someone to hell. What's that all about?
I don't know, but you just made me think of the part of the first time she's getting her fortune read, and he goes, "You're missing something. A button. Oh my god." That was great. And Justin Long's like, "Oh, but I don't know."
It's like really funny, but it's actually a vital clue. It's actually like the most important MacGuffin in the movie.
It is.
Like down to the last scene.
Oh man. So like they find out the whole button thing, and like she has it, and she goes to a diner, and she's like lactose intolerant, and I guess she's just eating ice cream as a coping mechanism like for a good chunk of this last part of the movie. She debates on like giving it to an old person, and then finds out the old person is like an old couple. She's like, "No, I can't do that." And then she almost gives it to Stu. She was this close to giving it to Stu, but he starts crying in front of her. And then she's like, "Oh, get out of here."
Yeah, she's really got a lot of moral conscience here, and
Yeah.
I feel like she just doesn't really earn her ultimate fate.
I don't know if I could live with it if I gave it to Stu. Like in the moment, I was like, just get rid of it. But like, you know,
She's really just not a bad person.
right?
So she can't go through with it. But later she is digging the grave because she decides she is going to just give the button back to She.
So this is after she gets a ride from Justin Long, and she drops all of her stuff. And she's like, "Oh my god, the envelope." And Justin Long is like, "Oh, don't worry about it." Which she could have just explained it. At any point, she could have been like, "Hey, Justin Long, I know you spent $10K on this because you now believe that this is an actual thing. If I transfer ownership, I won't be dragged to hell." She could have used her words, but she didn't.
I love how formal it is too, with all the transferring ownership and everything. Like when she's giving the button to someone, she's like, "I, Homegirl, hereby gift this formally to you, and it is now formally, officially your possession, Miss She bitch.
Is her name like Christine?
Yes,
Christine?
her name's
Christine
Chris.
Brown?
They call her Chris. Her name is Christine. I think it's
Yeah.
Brown. Yeah.
Christine Brown, because she discovers that she can give it to someone that's dead.
Yeah.
And it will still work. So she goes to She Bitch's grave, and I love this scene. Which they use spa mud during this because everything else was making her break out in hives.
The behind the scenes is really cool for this. It's pure movie
Yeah.
magic. I mean, they're on a
Yeah.
sound stage this whole time, and just the amount of mud and water and all the effects going into it. It's really,
She's covered in mud. It is
she's
glorious.
literally completely immersed in it, and she
Yeah.
comes out of it all.
Yeah, so she digs up her grave, she takes the shovel and shoves it in her mouth, and, like, lifts it open, and she does the whole "I, Christine Brown, hereby give you this button," and, like,
So
shoves it in
formal.
her mouth. And I think she calls her a bitch. And yeah, so she finally gets rid of the button.
Yeah, and which she could have done way earlier if the medium hadn't been withholding information from her. Like, she has to check in with him every like 20 minutes in the movie, and he reveals some sort of vital information she could have used much earlier.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you can give it to a dead person. It's like, dude, if I had known this 30 minutes into the movie, I would have been out of the woods an hour ago.
He probably won another like $15K for more information.
Oh yeah, I think greed is kind of a theme of this movie.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I think the medium is a really greedy guy. He charges a lot for his stuff, and
Yeah.
all he does is just tell her old legends, basically.
Yeah.
And there's all the bank stuff. I
Yeah.
think the point is, like, bankers are greedy, which, like, wow, hot take. But,
So we get to the final scene, and like she even got a new coat to rid her of the old one, the one that got the button taken off. That was cursed. She got this fancy new stewardess blue coat. She's going to go with Justin Long on a nice vacation. She gets the promotion at work because Stu ended up coming clean to him.
mhm.
Life is on track. Life is looking grand.
And if you haven't seen the ending like I had when I was younger, then you think, oh, maybe she doesn't actually get dragged to hell, because it really seems like everything worked. And it seems like this is actually going to wrap up and be a nice PG-13 ending
Until
the big switcheroo.
Justin Long's like, oh no, but I have your button. I have it right here. You took my quarter. He's so happy about it. He's like, let me get your coat fixed because I have your button. And she's like, no.
If it weren't for you being such a nerd about vintage quarters, it's Justin Long's fault.
It really is. Why did he keep the quarter? Why didn't she check the envelope? Why did he keep the quarter in his car for that long?
It's also in this scene where she admits all her wrongdoing and apologizes to Justin Long, not for anything she did to him, but just like she's just being confessional and remorseful. And so she really doesn't earn her fate in the end. But when he shows that there has been a big switcheroo, she backs up and she falls on the tracks. And even if she hadn't been dragged to hell in the end of this, she would have been hit by a train and died.
It was terrifying. Like the way her face is already sinking in while she's being dragged down. She's like screaming for help. And Justin Long is like standing there.
Mhm.
He can't do anything. I mean, he didn't even believe any of this stuff 72 hours prior to this.
Yeah. And the visuals on that are really grotesque. It's like this like CGI sort of eye popping. You can see all the rocks like kind of separately. It looks fake, but it kind of works to its advantage how off it looks. And then you've got Justin Long's just crying face. Like, very solid performance from our boy Justin Long.
Speaking of eyes popping out, remember the scene where She-Bitch shows up again and she's trying to get enough money to see the second medium, and like She-Bitch has her up against a pole and she like, has her skate and cuts the anvil that's up
Oh
there
my
for some
God.
reason. It squishes her head like a cartoon.
The eyes.
Oh, I love this movie. But no, for a PG-13 horror to be done well, and like it's PG-13, sure, but it's still a horror movie, and I really do think this is a great introductory to the genre that's not too intense.
I think Sam Raimi has a lot of talent as a comedic filmmaker, and I think that sort of lends itself to making a horror movie that's accessible to kids, being PG-13 and whatever. The tone is just not really overtly disturbing, and so it sort of just works as a first horror movie for someone.
So it has like that punch ending as like a horror movie does.
Yeah, I like a good sudden bleak ending like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And it's still fun for like older folks showing it to someone that's young in their lives, as like a sibling or a kid, their kid, or whatever the situation might be. Like everyone can have fun with this.
You know, this movie didn't have too many continuity errors.
What? Oh. I forgot. Jennifer's Body. Second movie that we watched in the same night as the first one. We are still in 2009, and I'm so glad we watched Jennifer's Body second because it is a total time capsule for 2009. It perfectly represents that time, at least from how I remember it. We watched the unrated version. We watched both, but I'm only acknowledging the unrated version.
They're so similar. It's like it's really small differences.
Well, you know, for me, I feel like even though a lot of the differences are small, they kind of add up to a significance from my perspective. And
I think the unrated cut had more jokes in it. I think it was funnier.
It did. Yeah. It had more jokes. You know, it was from the opening shot. It's Needy's story, which it really is throughout. There's a lot of funny parts that are just completely cut from theatrical. Yeah. It's a shame. We watched both. I will definitely be referring to the unrated cut. It's my favorite of the two. They're not huge differences, but it does feel a bit more lively. But it is a story that follows a young woman in high school that kind of lives within the shadow of her best friend, who is also Megan Fox.
That's a good point.
Thank you, Cam. Please put that behind the worst point we make.
Chris Pratt was in this. That's a good point. This is basically Mean Girls. In a lot of ways. It's not Mean Girls, but like in terms of the humor, the tone of it, and what the story is about. It's about broken relationships between young women because of society. Because of the mid-2000s.
What a rough time to be a teen.
Yeah. Rough time to be a teen girl.
Teen girl is hell. What was the line?
The opening line is like, hell is a teenage girl.
Hell is a teen girl is hell. They did a great job on that. It is a very weird line. But I definitely kind of relate, not to like a huge degree, but I did relate to Needy. I kind of understood where she was coming from, being someone that is a bit more reserved and being someone that has friends in higher places and is kind of like, you're happy, but like also you are living underneath this shadow and you kind of want to like find yourself and, you know, have your own voice. And I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I related to Jennifer a lot because I was really hot in high school, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very popular.
Really?
Totally. J.K. Simmons is in this, and he is an amputee, and
he has hair.
And a strong. I guess it's a Michigan accent. I had to look it up, but he's from Michigan. It really felt like a Canadian accent, but
it did.
But then I looked it up, and it's like Michigan, and I was like, this could be Michigan.
Right?
Sure.
Sure.
He has hook hand for no explained reason. It doesn't add anything but an air of mystery, except he says something to the effect of, I've seen some hard times myself.
And believe me, I have lived through some pretty heavy stuff.
Joel? I'm sorry.
You mean like The Last of Us?
Yeah.
I wonder if Teacher Simmons, whatever his name was, has ever killed innocent people.
He just wanted to survive.
Break it down. What's this movie all about?
Wow. Well, you see, it's really about grief and trauma.
Pass.
I'm sorry. No. There's a few things that I picked up on it. I really think that a huge part of this is revenge. Jennifer was sacrificed by this indie band that she went to go see with her BFF Needy and
Her Biff.
her Biff Needy.
That's why we're Biffs.
And it turns out that it goes horribly wrong, and she has to consume human flesh to survive, or else she just becomes drained. And this leads her to pretty much take it out on people that she got this like continuous mistreatment from. She was very devalued and looked down on, and I'm sure that Megan Fox was picked for this role because of who she was in 2009 and because of the way the media treated her and viewed her and handled her in general with her career. I think it really is I think she represents Megan really well, or Jennifer represents Megan well. They represent each other. That makes sense. It says a lot about how, the movie title is Jennifer's Body. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure it means something significant.
Well, Adam Brody as Brandon Flowers from The Killers, when he sacrifices her, he says, "I sacrificed Jennifer's body," and I think that is sort of a reference to, the way she's objectified.
Mm-hmm.
He's not sacrificing Jennifer. He's not sacrificing her soul. He's sacrificing her body.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think it's pretty interesting how she got into that situation about lying, about being a virgin, too. The whole reason it goes wrong is because they think they're sacrificing a virgin, which is a stereotypical thing when it comes to these situations. And it turns out, no. Very far from the truth, and...
Not even a backdoor virgin.
Didn't she have to sit on peas for like a week?
That's what she said, and thanks to Chris Pratt's character, which...
He's in this movie for like 3 seconds, and it's great.
We just have like a very Republican Chris Pratt in this bar.
I made the joke. I don't hate Chris Pratt before.
I don't either.
It's totally fine. I made a joke that like it looks like they just kind of like pulled him off from the street to come film this for like 2 seconds really quick. He looks so in his element. Not that he hits on teenage girls, but like.
You think he wears camo out on the street?
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of sitting on peas, the humor in this was great. It was a great time. It was really fun.
There are so many jokes. There's basically every other line is a joke. It's not a scary movie. It's so damn funny.
Yeah. It really like fits into the world naturally too, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't rolling my eyes, which I find myself kind of like whenever there's a teen girl in a movie and has to say like "ooh, she said that" funny joke or like a raunchy joke. A lot of times it kind of rubs me the wrong way. A lot of times I'm like, no one says that. And no one says the stuff in this either.
I think they don't really talk that way now. Maybe. I don't really go to high school anymore, but
I really hope you don't go to high school.
I think in the late 2000s, the way they talk in this movie is sort of good at representing that. Most of the stuff they're saying is pretty offensive, at least by today's standards, which is really funny. I just find it really funny because it's just like every line is so just edgy. It's just so funny.
And it's weird because it's like, this movie should not have aged as well as it has.
The reason they're saying these things is definitely because it's a satire and it's like a self-aware comedy written by a really smart woman. I think the writer of this movie, Diablo Cody, is just trying to paint kids in a sort of like empathetic way, because they are realistic. Like, kids, that's how kids talked back in that day. They were saying really horrible things, and I'm sure high school hasn't changed that much. I'm sure they're still terrible. I mean, kids these days, they're pretty awful. I don't know if you've met them. We encounter them at the movie theater sometimes, and they are just horrible, and they ruin our time. So
Hey,
don't talk in the theater, kids.
if you're born in '09, oh god, no. If you're a teenager in '09, did you ever say that you were plugging? I gotta know.
in reference to tampons. That's just for anyone who doesn't remember the line in the movie.
You got a tampon? Thought I'd ask. You seem like you might be plugging.
This movie is so quotable.
It is. You've got the guys when they're sacrificing Jennifer, they're using a Bowie knife, and one of them, because they're rock stars, they're like, Bowie, nice. She can fly?
She's just hovering. It's not that impressive. It's just so much fun. And it takes a lot of talent to be able to deliver these themes and tell this kind of story that people can relate to and still have this satire and absurd kind of humor, and also it not being too much. It still feels smart. It doesn't feel like... The thing is, Jennifer's story is really tragic at the end of the day. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm Captain Obvious, I know. Even though, like, it would be so easy to just Regina George her, right? To just kind of, like, write her off as the big bad. She's just, she's
yeah, I still don't like Regina George.
No one should. You feel empathetic. You were saying earlier, you feel empathetic towards Jennifer by the end of it.
I pretty much felt empathy for her the whole time.
Well, yeah.
I mean, she couldn't help it that she got possessed by a flesh-eating demon. So.
I mean, like, most people will by the end of it, if they don't at the start of it. Even though we see Jennifer as kind of like the it girl, I think it's very clear throughout that Jennifer has things that she struggles with, and insecurities, and, questioning herself as well.
Definitely. I think Jennifer and Needy are two sides of the same coin there. I think they both sort of use each other for validation. Basically, Jennifer uses Needy for validation because she's like the slightly less attractive friend, which, I mean, like, she's got the nerd with glasses thing. If she just, like, straightened her hair and took off her glasses, she'd be, like, insanely hot, but she's expected to, like, cover up her cleavage and be the toned down one. And she also is that person in personality. Like, she doesn't cuss. She is, like, ostensibly like a nice church girl or whatever. Jennifer uses that to make herself look more hot, to make herself more appealing to other people, and Needy uses the attention that Jennifer gets from other people to make herself look cool because she is Jennifer's best friend. So they're both using each other for sort of validation and social status.
Yeah, it is a very unhealthy circle. And it's sad to see because clearly they were best friends in early childhood as well. Like, we see a friendship, although it has its toxic aspects, crumble throughout this movie. We see Needy lose her best friend because of this band that she has to listen to this song throughout the entire of the movie.
It's just a really awful, generic indie song.
Yep, pretty much.
Through the trees,
I will fall.
That's so fun and morbid because the band is using this song as like an anthem of hope for all these teenagers.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who caused like a lot of pain for this community.
I'm pretty sure at one point he literally says, "You're not coming back. I'm still standing." He also followed Jennifer through the trees.
Yeah, and you could also hear Jonas's screams through the trees. At least you
Oh,
could if you
God.
were J.K. Simmons.
Let it all out, kids.
Let it out. Let it out, kid.
He was like, he thought this poor kid that was being brutally murdered was just like crying anguish. Oh, did we even mention how like a bunch of people died in the bar fire? Got like trampled.
I think it's weird that fire happens at the beginning because with how diabolical the band members are, it seems like they should have started this fire or something as like a ploy or a scheme or something, but there's no evidence that they did. It sort of just comes out of nowhere and the place just burns down really fast.
You know, I just kind of assumed they did because of how casual they were about it. And then, like, Brandon Flowers comes out afterwards and he is like, oh, I was looking all over for you guys. You want to come to my van? And it's just like, you are really casual about this right now. Like,
He just really wants them to get in the van.
he was like, I'm in, like, disaster mode right now. And I need you guys to just come to my van where it's safe. And then later on the radio, you hear them on the radio going like, yeah, we're surviving right now. We carried like 11 people out of the fire, and it's so annoying. Yeah, it's so annoying. And, you know, it's just a lot of exploitive behavior from this band, taking from tragedy, creating tragedy to take from in order to get them rocket launched into the charts.
Yeah, Jennifer calls them agents of Satan with really awesome haircuts. I just love this era's music scene. She's got Fall Out Boy posters. We have music from Panic at the Disco.
Yeah.
Hayley Williams has a track on there that's criminally underused. It plays for like 4 seconds and then just...
Crap. You said it. Hey, Mom.
Florence and the Machine, Dashboard Confessional,
Yeah.
which I thought was Billy Corgan at first. It sounded like a cover of Creep, maybe, and then I was like, wait, no, that sounds like Billy Corgan, and then I Shazammed it, and it was Dashboard Confessional, so it's like I was just totally missing the mark there.
Did you get vindicated?
Spider-Man 2, love her over here.
I can't help myself. No, yeah, the soundtrack, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier about the time capsule. The soundtrack in this is like it's amazing. It's still amazing. You open up and you see Jennifer on her bed and the Fall Out Boy poster behind her. You see 4 Years Strong poster at one point. It was super nostalgic for me. Also, I would like to say that this movie, at least, there's a lot of shots I think are really great, especially in the unrated cut. There's a shot towards the end after Needy has a fight with Jennifer, and it was like prom or whatever, homecoming, and she's on the bed. And I just, there's something about that shot and like the aftermath of it, and it's kind of like the realization that Needy is coming to in that situation, and the kind of gravity of it all. I think it was really cool. Any bits that were your favorite bit? Let your bits fly.
At the end, she stabs Jennifer in the breast, and Jennifer goes, "My tit," and Needy goes, "No, your heart." And this is mirroring a scene earlier when she kills Jonas, the quarterback or whatever, and Jennifer puts his hand on her boob and is like, "Feel my heart, Jonas. I think it's broken." And I just thought that was funny because it wasn't her heart, it was her boob. And so I just particularly noticed that when it first happens, when she does that to Jonas, but then at the end, when she stabs her and she's like, "My tit, no, your heart." I was like, oh yeah, I picked up on that. Yeah, I caught that.
Her heart got broken.
Her boob got stabbed. In the unrated version, there are some insufferable steampunk emo kids.
I love them.
Just eulogizing at a emo boy Kyle Gallner's funeral. Just the most insufferable, just emo.
Which emo kid hurt you?
I think it's really weird at the end when Needy is walking past the place where everything washes up from the Devil's Kettle, because they mention early on in the movie the Devil's Kettle, the place where they live, is this waterfall where things get sucked into this little water vortex and then they never show up anywhere. And scientists just can't explain it. But then inexplicably, Needy is just walking past the site where everything washes up. What's that about?
They have awful scientists.
This town clearly has no funding for anything. They've got this rundown pool. Like, why does that exist? And also in that pool, they have hopeless written on the wall, which mirrors one, Jennifer saying, "I need you hopeless," when she kills Emo Boy. And in the same scene, it's intercut with young Neil, aka Chip, and Needy having sex. And this is where we see like a weird, maybe sort of psychic connection between Jennifer and Needy, because she is hearing hopeless, and also later when Jennifer kisses Chip, she feels it. Like maybe she feels Jennifer kissing Chip, or maybe she feels Chip kissing Jennifer. But there's definitely a connection between Jennifer and Needy. There's definitely so much more going on between them than friendship. When they have that scene where they actually finally just like make out, they both mean it. Like, both of these girls are bisexual.
Oh, absolutely. It's really interesting how they were able to have that kind of in between the lines. It would have been super easy to rely on that heavily, but they don't. It's just kind of a part of their dynamic, if that makes sense. And for me, I could see it from right after Jennifer gets murdered and shows up to Needy's house. Like, that was the first place she goes to. And like kind of they have a moment there, as well as when they're at the concert and they kind of hold hands for a few seconds. There's a lot of tiny bits that show up that give you a bit more information about the kind of relationship the two girls had.
Needy is clearly in love with Jennifer. Like, absolutely. Like, she leaves Chip so easily to go to this show in the first place. Needy would just so much rather spend all of her time with Jennifer, give Jennifer all her attention. Like, Jennifer initiates that kiss, and Needy doesn't hesitate. She's ready there. She's clearly in love with her.
But also, you know, Jennifer mentions they can play boyfriend-girlfriend like they used to. And I think that indicates that it's not a one-sided thing as much as one might assume.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think that it is one-sided, but I think Needy probably feels more strongly. I think Needy is literally more needy about it. Her character is named so on the nose. Like, it's clearly, you know, she's the one in her shadow, and Jennifer can have any guy she wants, basically, but Needy just has like just one guy to lean on. And I think she wants more.
I think it's really, there's a running theme of Jennifer getting jealous of any guy Needy shows interest in too. I think Jennifer to some degree struggles more with like being vulnerable than Needy does. Obviously, it's kind of what you were saying, but also Jennifer is just kind of like keeps people at an arm's length overall. So I think that she cares deeply for Needy, but also because of who she is, it's very hard for her to be able to let anyone truly in her bubble. You know, like it's cool to not care. It's cool to be that girl, and she kind of finds the validation and comfort in that instead of the fear that comes with being vulnerable and it going wrong. You just 09 and these girls are obviously like there's something going on there. It'd be really hard for someone in Jennifer's spot to be vulnerable like that.
Yeah, especially with like a same-sex attraction like that. I mean,
exactly. This has been a journey This double feature has been such a journey. And
It's taken us a week to make this episode, and we have made all the points we've got to make.
go watch Jennifer's Body if you haven't yet. Or don't. I don't know.
We don't really care.
It's really up to you. I just recommend it.
I think it's good. I mean, it was good enough for me to watch it a second time. Like, we watched the cut we didn't watch the first time.
Can't say that for many movies. Typically, I stick to one cut.
We watched the unrated cut a week ago, and we were trying to record, and just all the technical issues in the world happened, and that's why we have our continuity error. And you're not the continuity. This was me motioning to both of our shows.
I'm not the continuity.
This episode has just been a nightmare to make, and
So
we
gross.
really hope it's all coming together in the end here. So if you're watching it on YouTube, please give us a like and a subscribe, and tell your friends to enjoy the amazing stuff we make for you. We put a lot of time and effort into this. I know it seems like maybe we're scrapping along, but we really put a lot of our time into this throughout the week. We work on this project basically every day.
Yeah, it's very true.
And if you could spread the love, then spread the love.
Thank you. He said everything I was going to say. I have no brain cells. I miss Blake and Sabrina
Me too.
so much.
I miss gushing with them.
Oh,
Stu, lead us out.
Stu, please.
Thank God, Jesus Christ.
I'll be right back.